Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St. Laurent, and as you can see, I have a fantastic guest. So pumped to talk to her today. But before I bring her on, I help coaches transition to a full-time business, which she's one of those people. So if you want to check out what I do, visit my website, sellingcoaching.com. I do this Tuesday live show. I put all my recordings in my university. So there's a lot of great information in there. And if you want to start right on the homepage at sellingcoaching.com and enter your name and email, that's going to not only get you a great audio resource, but it's also going to put you into my community where we can stay connected and I can give you some great information on how to do this all for yourself. Without further ado, I want to welcome back to the show, Carla Romo. Welcome back.
Hello. I'm excited to be back to the show.
It's so cool. Like, I always love your energy. I miss working with you. We haven't worked together in probably like maybe years. 4.5. Yeah, it's been a while. Years. So, So as I was telling you before we went live, like I was checking my records. And you started your coaching business in January 2018. Yep. You came to me around November 2018, and you were like ready to take this to the next level.
100%.
And you only had 4 clients on your own, and you're like, I want to do this, so I'm supporting myself. I'm a full-time coach, and so here we are 6 years later. But let's just start off like before we get into like where you are currently, right? Just even if you can remember, back to like we started working together. Give us a snapshot from what you can remember of kind of where you were at, what that was like, what challenges you were facing, just to give someone an idea of who's on this journey for themselves.
To be honest, I was super motivated. Like I knew I wanted to be a coach and I knew I wanted to create a career of this. And so I, had gotten certified, I started coaching, and then I was like, all right, it's time to launch my business, open it up. And so I officially launched it January 2018, even though I had started coaching a little bit before that, but I had left a career of television behind. So I was like doing this thing, like both feet in the water, like, here we go, which was terrifying at the time. It was scary because I was like, oh my gosh, but I was also like excited. And I knew, I don't know, I just had this really deep gut feeling that I was like, this is going to work out for me. Like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I just need to figure out the ways to get there to be able to accomplish those goals. And so I launched my business and I was like, all right, this is awesome. This is great. And then I noticed, okay, I need a little bit of help in terms of the next steps. Like, how do I get this thing to the next level? Because like you said, like I had gotten some clients and I was networking and I was doing workshops and that kind of thing. But I really wanted to take my business to a full-time level where I was just fully in it. This was my main source of income and I was all in. And so I was like, okay, I need help. And then I had posted to this like Facebook group thread and I was like, does anybody know a coach who would be able to help with the sales process? Because that's really what I felt like I was struggling with at the time. And then a lot of people just kept mentioning Jeffrey. I was like, all right, I got to talk to this Jeffrey guy. And so, at that time we connected, and from there you got me. You were like, okay, and something that always actually stuck out to me that I still carry with, throughout like COVID and all those things is that you had told me your business survived the recession back in 2009, I guess, was that?
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that to me. And I remember thinking, ooh, this is good, because there were so many like quick money coaching schemes out there around like, do this and get $40,000, whatever, in this month and like change it and game changer. And although I believe, you can do that as a coach, you were talking about creating a sustainable business that will last you. And that was what was the game changer for me in saying, okay, I need to work with this guy. Like, he knows what he's talking about. And, even during COVID, I remember I remember thinking about what you had said. And actually, if anything, COVID took my business to the next level. And so, it's really about having a sustainable business and growing that, and not so focused on how much money are you making, what are your figures, like that kind of thing. But what's actually going to be 7 years plus into my business. And it's full time, like it's up and running, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it's so cool whenever I get students of mine that come back years later, especially if we haven't spoken in a while. I can hear the maturity in the way you speak about yourself and the business and how you operate. We haven't gotten into the details, right? But I can hear the maturity that you have because you've been doing the work. And that's what I was always impressed about you. Like when we started working together, like you were no joke. Like you were all the friggin' 2 feet forward, and you're like, I'm going gangbusters on this, and you did the work. And so you were, I
Yes.
remember you just coming back to our sessions with like, and it was the sales process, and you learned that process really, really well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I mean, the sales process was huge. And to be honest, I still use aspects of that today in my coaching. I've made it my own, like, over the years, I've been
Yeah,
able to tweak things and see what works for me. But that sales process is still what I'm using today. Like, it really is a science. It's not rocket science, but there's a science to it of being able to break down and being able to be authentic. Because I also didn't want to be one of those like icky coaches that's like preying on people's emotions, making, taking them when they're so vulnerable and making them sign up for this course and all this stuff. And I really just I wanted to be authentic in myself. Like I'm here in this to help people, but I think what, was hard to grasp at first was, oh, it's not just about me helping people. Like, yes, that is a huge part, but I can't help people if I do not set up the business. And that's really what the game changer was for me.
yeah, big time, big time. So you're doing the work, you're learning the process, you're not afraid
Yeah.
to do those things. You're in the big bits of a move to a different state, etc. And then within all that, you came out with this awesome bad boy, your book.
Right, I still have it. I
Oh,
love it.
of course, I have it. Yes, a signed copy. And
I love
so,
that. That's awesome.
so you came out with this, according to my records, everything like late 2019, right? Like
Yeah,
September-ish.
fall of 2019, right before COVID hit. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm so grateful it was before COVID hit because you helped me like set up getting like doing the pre-sales and you had told me, okay, you got, because I said I wanted to write a book and you helped me organize. You said pick that date. It will help you work toward writing that book. And so I picked the and I realized, I need help. So I hired somebody to help me, editor, to help me write the book, and outline everything and then make it so it's like a really streamlined process. But while that was all being done, you and I were also setting up like, how do I market this? What type of
yeah,
groups do I reach out to? How do I get it out there? And that was a lot of the work that we did together.
yeah. And so now, because that's where we kind of like on the back end of that, you launched this, you're going well, and that's where we kind of like culminated our work at that time.
Yes.
So now take
Yes.
us forward, years into the book launch, what,
Yeah.
especially for people that are writing a book, thinking about, or anything like that, talk about what you've seen, what you've done as a result of that and everything else you've done.
Yeah, I really think the book was a pivotal moment for my career because it gave me different avenues to explore within the coaching umbrella, right? Like I wasn't just a life coach or a dating and relationship coach. Like now I was also an author. And so now I could do talks around the book. And then I could expand from the talks, not just around the book, but now I could expand talks that were broader, beyond the book. And so it really kind of helped me build up different avenues that then I was able to say, okay, like can go direct, can go there. And that was really helpful. And I mean, people are still buying the book today. Just the other day, on Instagram, somebody messaged me and was like, how do I buy your book? I can't figure it out. I was like, oh, here's the link. And she was like, thanks. Like, and I was doing an in-person event the other day and a couple of people bought the book, right? Like, it's still part of my branding. And even though I've expanded beyond just codependency and things like that, and I'm really focused right now on the dating and the relationship side, I still have this book as this foundational principle of like who I am as a coach and my own story and my clients' stories and how I've been able to move them from point A to point B. So the book, even though it came out like what was 2019, like 5 years ago, almost like
Yeah,
4.5 years ago. It's
yeah,
like even though it came out years ago, it's still relevant in terms of the way that I've been able to brand it, package it, moving forward.
yeah, which is huge. And so you do a lot of speaking. Like remember when we were starting off, like you're doing a lot of speaking, you're doing a lot of different events. What's going on now? Like it sounds like you obviously you just said, like I just did an event the other day.
Yeah.
Talk about how you've seen, the seminars, the events, and how that's contributed to the growth of your business, as specific as you're willing to share.
I have to say this as well that I've changed different goals in terms of the type of talks I want to do, where I wanted to go speak and all of those things. I'm actually doing a talk tomorrow that's going to be like this in-person workshop. But I will say that since COVID had happened, I had shifted to more of like an online presence in terms of my talks. and in terms of workshops. And so I was doing and have been doing in person, but I found that I could do both, right? Like I could now expand not just in person, but now I could expand online, and I could do these through video and through Zoom and all of these different outlets. And so it really just has kind of created, I look at this like COVID helped me really create and be creative within my business. Where instead of looking at it as like, this is it, the doors are going to close, like, I don't know what to do, it actually challenged me and leveled me up really to a big degree of this transition. And now I will say, now that things really are back in person and people like to connect and whatnot, I'm shifted back into like gearing into, okay, how do I create more avenues here, more streamlines to be able to get in person and get out there? So the way that I look at this is really it's shifting. You got to be adaptable when you have your own business. Like you have to be able to say like, okay, like where are things going? How do I pivot? That is the only way that you're going to stay alive and stay afloat, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's times too where you're going to have lower months, the economy, if inflation. Like I will tell you as a coach, and I don't know, Jeffrey, if you felt this too, but things shifted after COVID in terms of things that people were
Mhm.
willing to buy and not buy. And so it's repackaging or being able to adapt to like what your clientele wants and what people are looking for. And so I think having that flexibility mindset, I mean, is key. It's like every year my business is different. And it doesn't mean that I'm not, like I'm the common thread. It's life coaching. And, I'm doing a lot of dating and relationship coaching. I am doing some life coaching with that too. But the common thread is, okay, yes, I've got this, I'm coaching, but how do I adapt to what's actually happening in the current environment?
Yeah, it's so good to hear you say that. Like you, as you talk about this, I can tell you understand your business and you understand how to adapt
Yes.
and flow.
Oh God,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
put different things out there, and that's how you survive. Absolutely.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you adapted with your events, doing face to face, doing obviously virtual, so a combination of different pieces. So what have you found for you? What do you find like your day to days like in terms?
So I'm doing a lot of one-on-one coaching. I actually love one-on-one coaching. I was just talking to a girlfriend who I actually went through coaching certification with, and I do every like couple months I'll like host her. She does career coaching, and I'll host her like mindset group coaching courses and stuff. And that's the other thing too of like finding ways to collaborate with people is a great way also within your business. But she's been doing so much of like group coaching, and she loves it. I really love doing one-on-one. I also have done group coaching and do group coaching as well. But we were talking about the differences of what our days look like when you're doing group coaching, because you still have to work as a coach, even though you're showing up for a group. There's still things happening behind the scenes and launches and that kind of thing to get people into the group coaching, opposed to a lot of my day to day is coaching, to be honest. Like I'm coaching full time. So I do that. I also work on marketing. Today I just did a TikTok video. If anybody's interested, it's at I am Carla Romo.
Love it.
I also am present on Instagram as well, and that's I am Carla Romo. And then my YouTube is Carla Romo. But I was working on my marketing. I recently came out with a dating app guide called Swipe Match Spark, the ultimate dating app guide, which is a little ebook that you can get on different courses around red flags, what to look out for, communication, how to actually move the date from a dating app, right? And how to message somebody, what to put in your profile so somebody actually swipes on you, and then how to actually have the first date. So that's the bonus features, the in real life person date and how to have success with that. So, it's just different ways that I'm connecting with people, working with people. I also have been reaching out to, right now I'm in talks with a couple podcasts. I'm going to be on someone's podcast tomorrow. So it's just different ways of marketing and getting out there and connecting and collaborating with others.
You're active. You're so active. Like, listen, like, and this is the top of like, you're just like, oh, this is off the top of my head. But it's just like, if we could see the behind the scenes of like all the stuff that you're doing, that's even led to be able to say even some of these things.
Yeah.
Right. You're active. That's the thing I want people to understand is like, you're 6 years in, you're supporting yourself. You're living your dream of your coaching business by design,
Yeah.
but it's not by accident.
No. And to correct you, it's over 7 years of the business. Like, right? Because I started working with you at 6, but like this is over 7 years of continuing to like go for it. And I will say this as well. I have chosen, like last year, I chose to focus on myself more so. And I'll just be completely transparent because I talk about this within my business, which I really think is important as well, is to be vulnerable and share about like what's going on in your life and like how you've grown and you've changed things yourself. Changed in ways that can help your clients and be relatable. Of like, I'm not just this like perfect pedestaled guru who's like, right? Like, I also go through my own real life shit, and I was engaged in 2022. I ended that engagement after
Wow.
finding all these red flags that just kind of came to a head that were not happening before. And so I really focused on myself for a year and just really got myself back to a place of feeling really confident and good about just like how I was doing, my mental health, because something so traumatic had just happened. However, I never stopped working on my business. I didn't go into my business though in the sense of as an escape. So I actually decided, okay, you built this thing up. Let's see how it runs on itself without promoting any new products or anything like that for an entire year. Just show up, keep doing social media and your basic marketing, but like we're not going to try anything new. We're just going to do what like the coaching side, show up, that kind of thing. And I chose to travel the world. I bought my first condo. I mean, I really focused on me, and I took time off. I mean, I took off like 2 weeks to go to India in the middle of February. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to go focus on myself. I went and lived in Mexico City for 5 weeks. I was working at the time. But I was also allowing myself to have fun and travel and not work such a, big schedule with clients. So I will say that, it ran itself. Like I had built something that was sustainable exactly to what you just said. And so now I'm in a place where I'm like, yeah, like I'm building products, I'm connecting, I'm doing more marketing, that kind of thing, because I'm allowing myself space for that. But I think what's really important too is not to escape into your business, right? Because that is
Mm.
not sustainable. I mean, that's something I coach so much about: self care, self love, right? Like showing yourself that respect and finding ways to make sure that you feel integrated into your life, right? That it feels manageable. And so, being able just to kind of do that for myself was a really big, important step for me. And not to have fear of like, okay, I'm going to focus a little bit more on me. I'm going to let this like machine run. And it showed me that I've got a sustainable business that runs on its own, like I still showed up, but like I ran on its own. And that like, two, it's important to like take care of ourselves and to have, you're going to have seasons, you're going to have years, you're going to have moments of your business where that might not be the like full center focus. And like, that's okay. You can still be successful without that.
Yeah, you gave yourself permission to be where you were.
Yeah.
But you also said you didn't stop everything. Like you
No.
did the fundamentals. You sent your emails,
Yes.
and you did your feel social, et cetera. So you nurtured the audience that you had, and you had built enough relationships where business was still coming your way. You still had your clients.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
It was great because I feel connected to you all the time because I still get all your emails, right? So
Uh-huh.
like that's what I love about that. But and it's interesting. So for what it's worth, like as a person who's on the outside,
Mhm.
I didn't know you went through all that stuff.
Sure. Or
And
so. Yeah.
but because from my perspective, you just were every week you're doing your thing. And so like people don't know, right? But when you nurture your audience and you have the systems like you have set in place to stay top of mind, nurture those audiences,
Yes.
then and you can share and be vulnerable. Absolutely, right? That makes you more relatable.
Yes, exactly. And I think that that's the like we want human connection, and I think we want it even more so now, like with technology and everything that's like happening, and like even after COVID, it showed that like we want human connection. And so I think here it's important to be able to connect, to be able to say, I don't share about myself a lot during client calls because it's their call, but if there's something relevant, like the other day, I had a client, she's dating right now, and she was saying that she had gone through this engagement ending a year ago and now she's dating, and she recently got back in contact with this guy and she's not sure like what to do. She doesn't really want to talk to him anymore, but like she also wants to date. And I was like, I'm just going to be honest with you, like I've gone through something similar in the sense of ending an engagement, and no contact is going to be your best bet to be emotionally available to move forward. And she was asking me some questions around it and whatnot, because she said, like, I trust you, like you've been through something similar. You got through it. And now I'm in, a really awesome, thriving relationship today. And so, being able to share that and be transparent, and also to be like, yeah, I was on the apps like a year ago. Like, that's how I met my boyfriend, like, I'm not just like spitting BS and telling you like, oh, I've got this new ultimate dating app guy that like is going to help you. But like, I've never been on an app myself. Like, oh, I've been in the trenches, and I've also been able to help clients in the trenches successfully, get married. And now I have a client who's literally planning to have a child with the guy that she met with on the app, working together. So
Yeah.
it's full circle.
So cool. I love, number one, how you specialize, right? Like your
Yep.
niche, you really have dove into your niche. You
Yeah.
specialize, you're the expert in it, and you focus on it, which is great. And it's going to be really cool to see, like you said, one of your clients now, they're married, they got kids, etc. So in like, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, because you'll still be at it, because I know you, but how your business will evolve, how your audience will evolve, because now all these clients hopefully will have found someone, will have now, in a relationship, get married, etc. The natural evolution. And
Yeah.
and it's just so cool to see how you're just in it for the love of it, for the passion, for helping people, and you're adapting as you go and having
Yeah.
fun, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, what's really cool about doing this now for 7+ years is that like I have multiple clients who've gotten married. I have clients who worked with me years ago and say, "Hey, like guess what? Like I just got engaged, like thank you for all your help." Or like clients come back to me and say, "Hey, like I still hear like the things that I still hear your voice in my head from like our sessions." And so I think that that's a really powerful thing to be able to like look back and remember, like, this isn't just like a business. Like I'm helping people, and changing and helping people change the way that they're living their lives. I always say though, I give 110% credit to my clients because that is the work that they do. Like I'm here to guide them, but they do the work, right? But it really is amazing to be able to like take a step back and actually recognize like the impact that I have on someone's life, and never to lose sight of that. I was just talking to that about that with my boyfriend the other day, where I was like, I'm so grateful that I get to help people and I get to show up. But it's easy to get into like, client, client, client. Okay, now I'm going to go off, go to the gym, go for my walk, like, whatever, hang out with friends tonight, like that kind of thing. But then to take a step back and be like, the accumulation of working with these clients and the effect that it has on their actual direct life and like livelihoods is really amazing. And to be able to do that for a living is freaking awesome, in my
It's
opinion.
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carla, it's so awesome. Just like I said, I think the most thing I'm impressed with is just your maturity,
Oh,
and how you can talk through what you talk through. And then just listening on the other end, having gone through what I've gone through, right? It's all true. Like it's exactly what happens. It's exactly who we're required to be as an entrepreneur to get to this space of now 7 years, and then, double that and double that, right?
yeah, absolutely. And, I think the other thing too is like, remember your why of like why you're doing this. Like it can feel scary and you can feel like, oh no, is this ever going to work out? And like going back to your why, like why did you start this? Like why do you even want to do it? And making sure that you feel aligned with that it's easy to get caught up in seeing like everybody's like posts about, oh, making this much a month and making that much a month. I will say this though, I do find this kind of funny. I get approached sometimes from like some of these quick sale like coaches, and some of them are really big. Like they're like got a big following, that kind of thing. And one of them was like, look, I'm starting this new mastermind. If you want to join, and like screen the like clerk made $1,000 that month and whatever. And when I was starting out, I felt really insecure. Well, I'll never get there. I'll never be able to do that. I'll never, blah blah blah. And I just kind of laughed at the fact, like, I just kind of like when she like sent that, I didn't need to say anything about my income or anything like that. But I just said, thanks. I'm actually really like good with where my numbers are at in terms of revenue. Like, appreciate you reaching out. And I said, I love your marketing. She does an amazing job with her marketing. Like, her marketing is awesome. And I look at everything now through a different lens of not just, I don't just see these coaches who are, oh, get quick, rich quick, like schemes as like they have it together. No, because they are grinding to try to, get these people in the door. And like they also like this is not always sustainable. So like follow them, see where they are, and like 5 years from now, like there's some people that like I used to follow that I'm like, oh wow, okay, like they're not really coaching anymore and used to say like they, could help people and like had the secrets. So I think, it's easy to get lost in the fluff, but I think as well as like as long as you're in your lane and you're hitting your financial goals and you're able to take care of yourself and meet your financial needs for yourself, not for what people say you should do or say you should make or anything like that, but if you're hitting them for yourself, like that is all that matters. Like it really doesn't matter, like, in terms of like the grind and how much you're making, like as long as you're good with it, that's what matters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the biggest thing I'll put from that, agree with you 100%, is they're grinding. You're grinding. I'm grinding. Like we're
Yeah.
grinding. And
Yes.
like that's such a great word because it's not just all like, oh, it's easy and like whatever. It's freaking work.
It is work. And I
Yeah.
will tell you that they're probably grinding harder than I am because I have something that is sustainable. Like in the sense of what we were talking about of like, needing I knew somebody a couple years ago and she was like, "Oh, I'm making 40,000 a month and all this stuff." And then she messaged me 2 years later and was like, "Hey, like I'm not doing well. It wasn't sustainable. Like, I'm like reshifting. I still want to coach, but like I'm not making that money anymore. It's been really difficult." And that's because like those formulas only work for so long and it's fine. Like if you want to dip into that formula and make some extra cash, like you go for it. But it was just a really interesting switch where this was somebody who literally like years ago was like, "I'm making 40,000 a month. I'm killing it. I'm crushing it." And then was like, "Oh man, like Carla, I'm not doing well at all," And so, and it's not to like talk down on somebody like that. Like we're all on our own journey, but I think it's really being aware of like what makes sense for you and like what's sustainable for you.
Absolutely. 100%. Carla, I'm going to put your website in the chat, carlaromo.com. So definitely check her out and all your social links, I'm assuming, are there as well.
Yes. Yeah, you can find everything there.
Everything there.
If you want the Swipe Match Spark, the ultimate dating app guide, that's on there too. Coaches need love too. So just, throwing that out there.
Absolutely. And then also your book, highly recommend that because you really did an awesome job with this.
Contagious Love, Break Free from Codependency for Damn Good. And if you're international, you can get it on Amazon. And if you want to get it through my website, carlaromo.com, I will sign the copy and mail it to you.
Yes. And I also love how effortlessly you promote yourself. Like it's just so natural. Like even when we were talking earlier, you like my YouTube channel about like Carla Romo, but and it's a part of it. And it's not like, oh, I'm bashful or like, can I say this? Or like, you're just like, no, like go check out my stuff. It's fantastic. There's a confidence about it. And like, it's just so freaking awesome. I'm so proud of you. And I so look forward to year 12 or whenever the heck we're going to do this again.
Let's double this. We'll be in 14 and a half, it's 15 years, if we double the math. So yeah,
absolutely.
do it.
It's a date. How's that?
Love it. Yep.
Awesome. Carla, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching this, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. Tons more great stuff like this to come. Carla, thank you. And we will talk with everybody else